This is Akashvani. Time for a weekly program, Our Guest. I hand over the mic to the show host, Nitish Arora, for the same.
United Nations has declared 2020 to 2030 as Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, with the focus on preventing, halting and reversing the loss of nature. Fortunate to have Vijay Dasmanna as our guest today. He expertise in ecological restoration for the last 20 years. Vijay, what exactly should be done for restoration of nature? Because we do not realize that we are here only when the nature is allowing us to stay. Else, human species can also be extinct like many other species that have left this planet.
I think it's an important question to address. We'll have to see what is degradation. You can only restore if things which are degraded. So in terms of ecological restoration or ecosystem restoration, there are ecosystems which are degraded. And they are degraded in many, many ways. From invasive species colonizing large part of India and the world, to pollution of our rivers, pollutions of our lands, to desertification of dust bowl creation phenomena, deforestation. Those are the lands which needs to be ecologically restored. There are mining going on or mined lands which needs restoration as well. And I have been fortunate to be working on one such land. Understanding that this is degradation, then you can say, okay, now these are the lands we need to restore, ecologically restore and bring back into a functional ecosystem, which means that the soils, the plants, the animal life, bird life, all are in harmony there. Or you're trying to establish the interlinkages between them that existed over time.
So people also say that we need to develop at a faster pace. There are two kind of people. One are the eco warriors who will say that we should not have a road from here, we should not have buildings, we should not have new cities. And then there are others who say that ecosystem is a fairly natural phenomena. Development is something which is required. Even if we cut a few trees, even if we cut a few forests, the ecosystem will automatically restore. We are not killing the birds, we are not killing the species. They will develop the new ecosystem at a new place. So whom to vote for?
I wish it was such a simple narrative, because we are losing things, we are losing biodiversity at a very alarming pace around the world. And it's not just unique to India. And also the lands which were otherwise biodiverse. Therefore, we have to prioritize as to what is development, what is the kind of development we want. Development for whom? Development at what cost? What is the quality of life we want to live? Because those have kind of taken a backseat. There is only one narrative of development that has been dominating the whole world economics, so to say. So can we revisit it? Can we look at quality of life? Delhi, which is one of the most developed cities of the country,
Tops the pollution list.
Tops the pollution list.
Every year.
You cannot drink water from the tap. You cannot go to the Yamuna and feel that you are next to a river. Question is this what we are looking forward to? The focus, I think, in next coming decades or so would be that we kind of reach understanding that what is good development, what is the right development, where ecology is very undermined subject, because ecosystems are the reason why we are. Food crops won't exist if ecosystem is not intact, is not functional. Our rivers are not going to be there if we don't have functional ecosystems. Our quality air won't be there, and so on and so forth. So our ecosystem has to be intact, and it has to be treated as a national heritage, a world heritage, and has to be respected quite a bit, much more than what is being done now. So we have to target that these are our organs without which our organism is not going to run.
You said the policymakers should do this. I think when the United Nations has taken this up and this task is given to the entire global community, not only one nation or two nations, can we only depend on policymakers? They also say that everyone can play a role in bringing back nature. That is the slogan that United Nations has given. So at an individual level, I can understand that yes, the nations will make policies. We also need growth and development. We demand it from the government when we select or elect a government. We demand it from them that we need to grow faster. But at an individual level, are we really aware about the challenges that this nature is going to throw on us? Because if we watch a movie after watching the trailer, I think the nature has given us lots and lots of trailers. The tsunamis, unabated rains, heat waves. How much more we want nature to tell us. So, how can an individual pitch in? What is the role of the society? And then again, finally, the nations.
Yeah. So thank you for, again, this is a good question because here the United Nations has declared this as a decade for ecological restoration or ecosystem restoration, but India has volunteered. So many nations have volunteered for the Bonn Challenge, which is 30-30-30, which is by 2030, we want to restore 30% of our degraded lands and bring them back into a functional ecosystem.
We've already spent 5 years.
Yeah, we have already spent 5 years and there has been some development. I don't know how much, but at least there is a commitment to target to achieve, which is by 2030, 30% of land has to be under restored category, which is right now at 24, 25 or 26, something like that.
There's also one more target that India is aiming for, to be a developed nation by that time.
Yes, so we'll have to also understand what is a developed nation. Definitely developed nations have good quality of air, good forests, drinkable water from the taps, rivers clean, not only GDP. So I think our economists have to be thinking differently. They have to value these natural treasures that we have and has to be given much more credit than what is given in present economics. Regarding what is our responsibility, individual responsibility as well as collective responsibility, I think first is awareness. We'll have to have a mass campaign on awareness on what is ecosystem value, then what is it that we are missing, what is the quality of life that we are looking forward to. There is a lot of hue and cry about, bad air quality, traffic jams in Delhi, in any of the major cities actually. And those are becoming a quality issues now. But also the forests, also the wilderness. People are seeking wilderness. You wouldn't have heard of mushroom walks, but now we have got mushroom walks. Now we have got insects walks. We have got butterfly walks. We have got bird walks. We have got people going and spotting plants, this awareness was not there before. And this is a very, very big step because if we will only save anything that we care and we find meaningful, we relate to, and more we relate to nature, more we relate to wilderness, more we relate to these organisms other than human beings, I think more the chances are that we will save them. We'll raise voice for them.
Earlier on, we had this concept of most of the nations were having some reserve forests, reserve grasslands, reserve areas. Do we still adhere to that, or where are our reserves going now?
So reserves are still there, of course. We have protected areas, we have national parks, we have sanctuaries, we have community conserved areas, we have biodiversity heritage sites, we have conservation reserves, we have Ramsar sites, wetlands, but they are few. They are still very, very few. And our landscape is huge. And our wilderness, our wildlife actually exists a lot outside of these protected areas than inside of these protected areas. And what we are seeing is that outside of the protected areas, the lands are going through a huge transformation. There is so tremendous pressure on lands which were otherwise wild are now under pressure from human development. I'll give you an example of Thar. Thar agriculture was done once in 2 years or, whenever there was a possibility of good rain. Now you're digging bore wells of 1,000 feet deep and extracting that submersible, and you are irrigating those lands. So all the wilderness that existed there in Thar is now going at a very rapid pace because now those lands have become rich, those lands have become resources, they are being fenced, barbed wires are being used, and wildlife are contained in much, much smaller areas, and they have restrictions now. So the lands are undergoing lots of transformation. This is true for Western Ghats, this is true for Northeast India, this is true for all the wild areas of our country.
This continuous pressure on the land, where is this going to take us?
Yeah, I wish I had an answer for that. Yes, we are too many people. We have developed in many, many ways. We have resources. Our financial institutions have been brought to a point where people can access resources, financial resources, and therefore a lot of growth is happening. Now that growth is at some cost. It is coming at the cost of our wilderness, our ecosystems, our forests, our grasslands, our shrublands. And I don't know. I don't have a solution as to what to be done. I think it will be few generations before we realize things.
You've been working in the field for the last 20 years now. Have you seen some change in perception at an individual level? Are we becoming now more reasonable or responsible, or we are going astray?
So there are both. I think there is a category which is very, very aware or getting aware, is voicing their opinion about conservation. There is a growing community of people who are looking at alternative agriculture, are looking at ecosystem restoration. There's a community, we have actually formed a group called Ecological Restoration Lands of India, where we have got together people who are thinking about ecological restoration in small parcels, in individual capacities, at institutional capacities. So there is an awareness of that kind. Yet there are pressures, immense pressures. And as I said, there are resources, and so people are indiscriminate in using those resources for, like, elephant corridors are being covered, drainages are being covered, and we don't have enough monitoring system to monitor that we could track how the lands are being changed or are changing. The urbanization is a reality. We have to plan for urbanization. If we don't plan for urbanization, then haphazard urbanization will deteriorate more lands.
You've done a lot of work in the field of restoration, and you've set examples also. Can you tell us what were the challenges when you started working on the Aravalis, and how were you able to meet those challenges, and what is the status now?
So one of my important project was Aravali Biodiversity Park in Gurgaon, which was a mined landscape. Rocks were basically taken out and they were crushed and sold to the city. Now that land, due to Supreme Court ban, was left fallow, and we came up with a plan to ecologically restore this land. And fortunately, in 8 to 10 years, we were able to restore this land, and it became the first OECN site in the country. OECM is a category given under IUCN for lands which are not protected areas. Because of its biodiversity, it became important, and we are working on some of the projects in Gurgaon. We are also helping in Rajasthan, few projects. There is Kishan Bagh project, which is looking at shrublands of Thar Desert, of sand dunes. So Aravalis is a mosaic, it's a complex system. It's one of the oldest fold mountains, and the forests are very resilient. I think if we can give them protection, legal protection of some sort, bring them on the heritage category, then we will be able to think about conservation plan. And there is a major plan under Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change to look at restoration of Aravalis, though it is being pitched as green wall, but I hope that it mutates into ecological restoration of Aravali landscapes.
This landscape of restoring ecosystem is such huge, such wide, that covering this in just 15 minutes is not possible. We try to. Is there anything that really you want to add to it, and we'll hopefully continue with this discussion sometime soon?
I think for me, as my personal journey, I think I would like to share with people that, go to the wild, go to the wilderness.
But don't be wild there.
I mean, if you are wild there in the true sense, yes, but don't be a brat. Don't be a city wala there. Respect wilderness, respect ecosystems, and educate yourself. I think it's very, very important that we all delve into what we have left. Tiny birds, to large mammals, to insects, to mycorrhizas, to fungus, to whatnot. The world is incredibly beautiful, and what is left is still incredibly beautiful. I think we have to hold hand of each other and go into the wild and understand the wild and rewild the landscapes, be it your city, be it your gardens, be it your balcony. Create those gardens for wildlife, for butterflies, bees, birds, whatnot. That's my biggest joy when we do walks, when we take people along, show them the wilderness, the way we see it, and share the joy of being in wild. I think that's what my message would be.
Thank you so much for being our guest, and continue inspiring people, because you've done such a great job in the field.
You were listening to the weekly program Our Guest, that is broadcast every Monday at 9:15 a.m. Don't forget to tune in next week, same day, same time and same frequency for more on Our Guest. Have a nice day.